The Asian Avengers, so weak.
Asian Avengers, so weak, so fuckable, bro. You know? Whoa. There's 5 Asian guys together. Wow.
Together. Did you ever go through a stealing phase?
Do I think everyone should have a gun? Maybe.
Or you can look me up. I don't care. I'll fight you. I don't care.
You want to get high as fuck? You like opium?
And welcome back to another episode of Asian Not Asian podcast. The podcast where two Asian guys not from Asia talk about American issues no American cares about. I am your host, Fumi Abe.
And I'm Mike Nguyen.
Today is December 12th, Saturday. It's cold as hell in New York City. If you are listening to this on your phones right now, please take a screenshot, post it on Instagram stories, tag us at asian.asianpod.com, and share it with your friends. Word of mouth is how we get bigger.
Yeah, man.
And it's really up to you guys because the industry has passed on us. This is fact. So you need to share it. And if you want to support us even more, check out our Patreon, patreon.com/asian.asianpod for bonus content. We've got bonus episodes. We share behind the scenes stuff from stand up, all kinds of naughty, fun stuff. So check that out if you want to be a part of that. And if you're an iTunes listener, just please leave a review. I want to start this podcast off with a little story. I just got back. If you've been following my stories, which I know 7 of you are, I just got back from Palm Springs. I was in Palm Springs for a week with the Comedy Central team. We were in this thing called the Viral House, which is like the CBS Viacom version of like a TikTok house.
Terrible name, by the way. Just
yeah, they thought they were being quirky. You know, somebody in like I don't know, marketing department thought of that. They wouldn't let us pick the name. When we heard that, we're like, can we pitch some other names? And they're like, no. So it was somebody was really proud of that name. So we went there
for sure.
in Palm Springs. I've never been to Palm Springs. It's very, very beautiful. Have you been there? I know you're from LA.
I've never been there.
You get out and it feels like I don't know. You ever been on like Thunder Mountain at Disneyland? That ride?
Yes.
It's like that, but like a city. It's crazy. Like
it's like a big desert, right?
For sure. And everybody's super rich. There's so many golf courses, and we were like, in this house. It was a bubble. We weren't allowed to leave. But the biggest thing is that I had to spend like 7 days with these comedians in this house together.
How many people were there?
There were 3 homes, and in my house there were 5 rooms. But there were like 6 content creators, so we were like always together. And I don't know. It was interesting because I'm like 31 now, and like first of all, like let's get this out of the way. I need my own bathroom, right? And that I poop like 4 times a day, and like I was getting poop anxiety from that all week. Just like,
dude,
oh, am I gonna stink?
That's the biggest thing when traveling, man. Hell yeah, dude. Where are you gonna take a dump? Yeah.
And I know I'm not laughing because I am serious. I remember like one of the best things about hanging out with your friends in your 30s is we always do a bathroom check with each other. I went to the beach with Kenise Mobley and with her, and like we just kept being like, you got a shit? You got a shit? Like we kept checking up on each other because we both poop like 4 times a day.
Yeah.
And I was like, so that was like making me nervous. But it was fun. I think the weirdest thing that happened is like it's all comics, and I've never had comedy roommates. But when I hang out with comics, it's usually fun. It's after a show. We're fucking around. We're shitting on each other. It's a good time. Jokes nonstop. But it started off that way. But I realized that I have like a mental limit on how many jokes I want to hear in a day. Yeah. And after a while, I remember like the last 2 days, in the beginning, I was like, everybody's riffing, and I was like, oh man, everybody's so fast and quick, and I'm like, this is awesome. Like, I'm gonna try to catch up and try to be funny.
Yeah.
And by like day 5, I was like, shut the fuck up. Like, I don't give a fuck what you think about this breakfast burrito.
Don't care.
Like, I like tapped out, man.
Yeah. Oh man,
have you ever had a thing like that,
dude? I mean, so this is why when I hang out with other comedians, I have to leave my wife at home because my wife is always like, are there going to be comedians there? And I'm like, yeah. And she's like, you guys are so fucking annoying. Everything is so fucking funny to you. Guess what? It's not funny. Ha 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 ha. And I have to admit she's right, because it's just like no matter what you bring up, it's just like, it could just be like, oh man, hey, yeah, hand me the salt shaker. Ha ha, salt shaker, bro. It's like a penis. Ha ha. It's like, oh my God, like I get it, because I get into it too, for sure.
It is fun for like an X amount of time, Yeah. And I think that limit is different for everybody. And perhaps this is why I'll never make it, because I realize that I do have a limit. But I remember going from like, oh man, these guys are so like inspirational, hilarious, to like, oh, this is a disease. Like you can't stop doing this. Like
No,
if I say like, oh, my wife left me, you know, you can't, you don't have
always.
it in you to be like, are you okay? Your first response is like, it's because you got a small dick, huh? Or whatever. You know what I mean? Like,
no, 100%.
You want to give it to the pipe. You know, not so crazy rich Asians or whatever the fuck. You know, like it's gotta be,
bro. It's because you're like, you know, you just got a small dick. You know, like
it was wild.
There's this is 100% like late at night. You know, they're having an epiphany. You know, they're looking in the mirror and they just see a clown, but looking back at them, and it's just like, you know, like they just can't escape. Everything is always just a joke.
Yes. This is a great idea for a new Jordan Peele movie, by the way. Yeah.
Where you can't escape the clown.
It's called The Last Laugh.
The Last
it's a
Laugh.
Clown. Yeah.
That sounds truly terrible. I feel that I think it's because I think a lot of comedians, myself included, we turn things which are painful into funny because it's a way to protect ourselves.
Sure.
Right? And so we like turn, if something terrible happens, you either can laugh at it or you can kind of be sad about it, right? And we usually try to turn it into laughs. And I think the same thing happens with like anxiety. You know, I can tell when somebody, I think, is too... I think a lot of comedians, if they get into a situation, they'll just like turn on the funny a little bit to kind of like break up a little bit of the awkwardness and stuff like that. Yeah. And I think if anything, being in this house, you were probably anxious and they were all probably anxious, and everybody's just like turning the anxious meter up, and everybody's just like fucking making jokes all the time, right?
Yeah, absolutely. Before I bring up our guest, I want to tell one really terrible thing I did that was like so embarrassing, and it like really ruined the mood.
Oh God. Okay. Yeah. Hit me.
Like, let me preface this with like, I'm not an actor. Okay, I don't act, and part of the reason why I wanted to do this program that I'm in right now is because I thought I'd get practice at acting, but unfortunately, because of the quarantine, I haven't really been able to practice acting. I've been just wearing wigs in my own house in front of a green screen, making stupid videos.
Yep.
So I'm not. So that's number one. I'm not a good actor. B, I'm not like necessarily like an amazing improv person. Okay, like I feel when comedians, like, here's the way I describe it: when stand-up comics are sitting next to each other and laughing at the lunch table,
yes,
and then improv people are sitting at a lunch table. The difference is, comedians, I am making fun of your fat stomach, okay?
Yeah.
But the improv people are building a boat. That is the difference, right? So like, I can be funny if I'm like shitting on your physical body, or like I'm making fun of you for something you did, but like it just takes a little bit of time for me to, if you know, because when you're acting, a lot of times they'll have you do it one way and another way, and they'll be like, okay, this third time, just like don't follow the script, do whatever you want, right? Yeah. So they did that to me, and when they said that, I like panicked. I was like, I don't know what to say, especially because the line was, I knew it. That was it. It was one line. I'm like, how can I get? I don't know how to make this any funnier. And so I panicked, and I was doing a scene with this guy named Trevor Wallace. He's a huge YouTube comedian. He's also a stand-up comedian. Yeah. Very funny, by the way. And I feel he has like a chip on his shoulder because I think people just think he's a YouTube comic. He's very funny in person, and he's a great actor too. And he was based. The premise is that he's obsessed with conspiracy theories. Yeah. And he comes in to the house, and we're having an intervention, and he comes in, he's like, I knew it. I knew you were going to do this. And my line was like, you knew, my line was like, you knew what? Like, I'm being skeptical. And they're like, yeah, just try something out. And I was like, okay. And I was like, so he comes in, and he was like, I knew it. You guys are holding an intervention for me. And I was like, you knew what? You just got here. Your hair looks like shit. And then everybody stopped. Nobody laughed. And somebody was like, you were on a different shoot. Like, that is not even in the spirit of the script. What are you talking about?
You just come out immediately with just like a personal secret, like a secret, like a personal, or something. You know what I'm saying? Like, it's like, oh, Fumi, go ahead and improv, and then you're just like, I hate everyone. You know? Where did that come from?
Like, it was because, you know, sometimes you do improv and you mess up and people laugh.
But
nobody laughed. It was like, what is happening? And it was truly so embarrassing. But I want to talk about this with our guest today because, hey, he's an actor, you know, and he's a writer. He's a stand-up comedian. He's done it all. He's met famous people. I met this dude when I was really new in comedy. I met him when I was in 2016. I was a baby comedian. I was 2 years in, and I met him at this comedy festival, and we were comedy roommates. He was my first comedy roommate for like 2 nights. So guys, give it up for the hilarious Ismael Loutfi, everybody.
Yeah. What's up? How you guys doing?
What's good, man?
Good, man.
Hi.
Thank you so much for coming on the show. Is the audio okay? I feel like you were talking earlier, but I couldn't hear you.
Shit. No, I was just saying I cut in inappropriately because you said that you never had comedy roommates. And I was offended.
Comedy roommates,
because I was like, what about me at the Chicago Comedy Festival? That's where we met, and we were boys, and we were
boys.
we were immediate
that
boys.
that was really the first time I lived with comedians, but we were only together for a couple days, and then it was so funny because I think you haven't been doing comedy that much longer than I have. Maybe you have a year on me or something like that. But I met Ismael and I was like, oh, he's so funny. We're boys now. He's gonna move to New York. We're gonna be a team. And then 3 months later he gets JFL and I'm like, never mind. He's ahead of me. It's fine.
Actually, I did JFL the week after Chicago Comedy Festival.
Oh
so it was immediate.
Yeah.
I remember feeling like a baller. I was like, I'm at this festival. Nobody knows because you have to keep it secret.
Oh, shit.
And I got this Fumi, this new friend who thinks that we're equals. And
but secretly, I'm way better than him. Yeah.
I have this secret,
it's the best.
man. Yeah. No, dude. It's funny. You were talking about the viral house for Comedy Central with all the comedians. I have a strict no riffing with strangers policy. I do not. If I'm with people that I'm not comfortable with, I'm not going to pretend to turn it on because it's not going to be good. It's going to be pretend,
okay.
Wait, does that include comedians or your wife's friends?
Exclusively comedians. I'll try to be funny with wife's friends because what does it matter,
Right.
Yeah.
I don't want to
Okay.
be a bummer. But with comedians, it's I'd much rather be the mysterious, quiet guy who's got a lot going on upstairs,
Now that's funny, Ismael. Now that's hilarious.
Exactly. That's all I crave. I'm not trying to be in this potluck of awful riffs with people I don't give a shit about. I really do hate it. I hate
love
it
that.
so much.
I feel like that's why we vibe because when I met you, you didn't try to be funny with me. In fact, I think you recommended. You're like, yeah, I'm watching Rick and Morty. You should check it out. I think this was 2016 when it was new, and you're like, oh, there's this new show called Rick and Morty. Check it out. So I think that's why we got off on the right foot because you didn't try to build a canoe with me or some shit,
For sure.
Yeah,
no, and
sure.
I remember feeling a special connection with you for that reason, for being oh, I don't need to be one of these goofballs.
Yeah, we're comedians who don't tell jokes. So
yeah.
Take that.
Dude,
Very
save it
different.
for the stage, man.
Have you ever had comedy roommates?
I think exclusively. This is the first time I live with my wife and our dog. But prior to that, it's just I've only lived with comics.
And how's that been for you?
It's all right. I live with people that are just good people, I've never factored in how successful or how much of an edge I can get by living with a person. So that's never, you know what I mean? It doesn't.
Yeah.
They could just be friends that I have, But I think it just has to do with being in comedy so much that all my friends of every caliber are comedians.
Yeah. It would be psychotic to try to climb up the ladder of comedy by trying to live with somebody.
I think people do that. I think people fucking do that, man.
Oh yeah,
comics
I'm
are
sure.
doing that. There's
Just-
no end to the bizarre power moves people think they're pulling off.
I mean, I could barely handle this for a week, so I don't even know what I would have to do if I don't know what I would do if I had to live with somebody and they were just, I don't know, always trying to riff on every single meal I made or something like that.
I was gonna live with Ronan Hirschberg and Jeffrey Asmus when I first moved to New York. That's what I was gonna do, and then I decided against it. But if I had done that, I feel like I would be a different person. If you don't know those comedians, they're really funny, but they're exactly what you're talking about. They're always riffing.
Yeah.
They're always writing down every conversation they just had.
Oh
Bro,
no.
and that's why you have a wife, okay? That's why, because and those guys don't have wives. That's exactly why.
There's
And
That's
it's-
right.
it's a good thing.
some people say they're still riffing to this day. They're still riffing if you listen closely.
Ismael, I wanna introduce you to our listeners for people who may not know you. So I want to talk about your background a little bit before we get into other shit. But you and I have kind of talked about this before. But you are originally from Connecticut, but you grew up in this kind of conservative area in Central Florida, right? I don't remember what city it was.
No, I'm from Florida. I was born in Ocala in
okay.
Central Florida.
You
yeah.
never lived in Connecticut. I'm sorry. One of your parents is from Connecticut.
Yeah, my mom's Connecticut.
That's right. Okay. And you have a lot of jokes about this, but you are one of the few like super devout Muslim comedians, I think. Is that correct?
I'd say there's like 4 of us. I don't know if super devout is fair though. Super devout feels dishonest. I don't think you can be super devout and call yourself super devout.
Yeah,
Like,
that makes sense.
I pray. I pray 5 times a day. I'll say that.
Yeah. So,
I'll
kind of
take it.
like, what describe to us like what was that like for you, like growing up in Florida in this like red town, Muslim name, Muslim, you're praying all the time. I also read that your dad is super into Islam and all that. Kind of describe to us what that was like.
I mean, my family was really isolated and very. All my sisters and mom wore hijab, and my dad had a big beard, and he drove this car that he like painted on. He painted the words IslamAlways.com right on the back of it.
Whoa!
He painted all this stuff. If you Google Islamobile, Florida, it shows up, and it was just this. Those cars that like are covered in like Jesus shit.
Yeah, dude.
Like a van that's like full of like repent to Jesus. My dad was that for Islam, and it had all kinds of crazy shit.
Wait, those weren't bumper stickers he painted it on?
No, yeah, it was paint. He because he would paint here and there, and then sometimes he would bring it to his car and he would just paint all over his car. It looked nutty. It was very weird.
Was he the proprietor of IslamAlways.com? Was that his thing, or is that just like he's just giving web traffic to this other place? Is that what was going on there?
Yeah, it was web traffic to another guy's website. Yeah, I don't think he ever even went to it. He just heard the name of the website and he was like, I love that name, and he painted it on his car. And I think he actually he didn't even like that guy. He didn't even like that imam. Like,
wow.
That's such a dad move to like something and be like, yeah, I'm gonna sponsor it. It's like, Dad, you don't have a following. It's like, nah, I'm gonna sponsor it. I'm gonna just do it on my own.
And he so. But we were fine. Like, nobody fucked with us. We were really okay. Yeah. I was very isolated in my worldview. Like,
right.
I don't feel like we were like Mormons or Westboro Baptist Church people. You know what I mean? Like, we weren't like huddling, afraid of everybody.
Right.
Just personally, I like didn't fuck with anyone.
But like, you went to public school, right? Like, you went to school with people who are Christian, whatever. Maybe they're drinking, maybe they're doing drugs, maybe they're having sex at age 14. Like, for me, when I moved here, I didn't have a strong religious hold, but a lot of my worldview and values kind of dissipated after 4 or 5 years of exposure to American public school, right? Like the way I felt about weed or sex and stuff like that. And I'm just wondering, like, how was that? Were you able to sort of like, like you said, you said you had a very isolated view of the world. Like, were you able to like kind of hold on to that, or did you?
Yeah.
Go ahead.
I think it was like reactionary. Like, isolated isn't exactly the perfect description of it. It was more a reaction to like everything going on at the time, like 9/11 and then the Iraq War and like invading Afghanistan. There was a bunch of things that happened, around the world that if you were an American Muslim at the time, you had to like choose. It was binary. It was like, are you going to be at mosque, or are you not ever going to go to mosque ever again for the next 15 years, So like I was just, happened to be born in a family that was very much like, oh no, we're picking mosque. Like, we're picking this like the religion and the culture over being afraid of the religion and the culture.
Oh, I fucking love that, man.
Yeah,
that's cool.
yeah.
I mean, that's interesting. I feel like it's crazy that at that time, because I can see what you're saying. It makes you kind of choose, and that's kind of, I don't know. I feel like, do you feel like that was kind of unfair that you had to be all in or all out? Do you ever feel like you could, it's like, oh well, I don't want to have to make this false choice, or do you feel that like this was kind of, did you even think about it like that?
I didn't think about it like that. I mean, it's so not like exciting, but I was very I just went along with whatever. I was not questioning anything as a kid.
Yeah.
I didn't feel like it was unfair. I was like, hey, I mean, they're let me tell you, if you're like growing up in a religious Muslim family in America, it felt like America was at war with Islam. Like, you really did feel
for sure
like you were on the front lines of the wrong side. But I mean, fuck, that's going to make me sound like a terrorist. But you know what I mean? Like, it felt like they're invading everywhere. And if I fucking drink a beer, I'm on team attack Iraq,
Yeah.
So I don't know. It fit with me. I was on board.
So like that all like sounds, awesome to me as an adult that you had this like strong foothold with your family, but like how did that manifest in school and like within your social group? Like I'm sure you had, it's fucking Florida. You probably had friends who had like rat tails. Is that what it's called? When the thing, and they had a go-kart and they're like, you Muslim or whatever,
Where is this going?
I'm just saying, like,
yeah, dude, you're just
like, how do you like
Floridians.
if you truly believed in all that, like how were you able to like make friends, and how did that kind of manifest in your social circles?
I didn't make any friends. I had no friends in my hometown until senior year of high school, when like I was in a bunch of classes with really smart kids, and then we became friends because we were not dumb.
Damn. So you don't have any like friends of like you as a 9-year-old like playing basketball with?
No, definitely not. My whole social group was at the mosque, and I didn't like any of those kids either. So.
Oh really? How come?
Because they were all like the wrong age. You know how sometimes everyone in your community is just like 4 years too old or too young? Yeah. It was kind of like that. There was nobody the right age for me to like actually have friends. But I didn't care. I played video games. I was fucking chill, dude.
Oh shit!
I would go
What did
home,
you play?
Dude, I played this game called Medieval 2 Total War. It like, oh my god, dude! I still play it to this day, especially in quarantine. I'm fucking on board with it. I'm playing it right now.
This is so interesting because you had no friends. You were like, fuck America.
Yeah.
But this product though, it's pretty good. This thing about
Oh, dude, that's like that meme, like, I have problems with society. Oh, but you partake in society. Dude, I was fucking all about America, dude. How could you not be? There's goddamn fucking donuts. This place is great.
Dude, I feel that, and sometimes every time I like, see pictures of like ISIS or whatever, I'm just like, I bet they're playing Ghost of Tsushima. You know what I mean? Like, they get down.
Yo, they got Ariana Grande on on lock on Spotify, dude. You fucking kidding me?
Dude, Ariana, she looks like she could be like Kurdish or something. She's getting progressively more Kurdish.
Well, it's interesting you say you didn't have a lot of friends, because you have this famous bit where you say you got married when you were like 17, right? So you had one friend.
That was senior year. That was the year I made a bunch of friends, and that was the first year.
You just went from no friends to getting married, man, dude. Just
I made a huge leap.
What happened?
I went from like, that was exactly it. It was like everything that you're talking about in terms of like questioning it, or like how did you confront the American culture and Muslim culture. It all happened that one year when I was 17. Made a bunch of friends, felt cool for the first time, started wearing contacts, got hot, and then met a girl, and like, you can't have premarital sex if you're really conservative Muslim. So I was like, let's just fucking get married.
Whoa.
And she was like, no. And I was like, come on. And she was like, all right. And then we got married.
Wow.
And it wasn't legal though. It was like a Muslim wedding. It was a nikah is what it's called. It was like a very just spiritual type deal that my dad officiated. And it lasted 6 months. So hell yeah.
Oh shit. Was this, because we always talk about this, we talk about what's the name of that show, Fumi? The Rami. And there's in the pilot episode, she, they're like, he's gonna hook up with this Muslim girl, and then she's like, oh, do we have to get married first? And it's kind of like an implication that it's like a quickie thing, so you can do your thing. Right,
yeah, he was gonna do it on his phone online.
You can Skype in someone to get you guys married. Was this like that, or was this like, hey, you know what? Well, I'm gonna give this a run, because as a teenager, I could see myself doing that. Like I'm just like, yo, I need to get laid. I will convert to Mormonism in order to get this. Was it like that, or were you even thinking that far? What was going on?
I think it was like it was a blend of both those things, because on the one hand, like I knew that it was abnormal to be getting married at 17, but on the other hand, I liked this girl a lot. Like I was a little romantic. I was like, yeah, I'll fucking be with her forever. I don't care. So I wasn't doing it completely disingenuously. There was some actual emotion there.
No, I love you're such a romantic guy. Hey, you want to get married? Come on, and hey, I don't care. I don't give a fuck. I'll like you. I don't give a shit. So like, that's love, baby.
What was the reaction on your side of the family and the reaction on the? I'm assuming she was white, but like on this American girl's family.
Yeah, so my family was like very suspicious of it, but they were nice. They were polite about the whole thing.
Wow.
Especially my dad is the one who was on board with. My dad was like, yeah, do it, definitely, because my dad, I've told you, he was super religious.
Islamalways.com, baby. Yeah, for sure. Yeah.
Islamalways.com, totally. I mean, this is what the Prophet would have done. Peace be upon him. People got married at 14 back then. Like, that was my attitude. I was like, I'm 17. In ancient Islamic era, I could have led an army against Rome.
Yeah.
You know? Which is true. They had
Yep.
teenagers fucking fighting in armies. Dude, I sound like such a terrorist. It's insane.
Yeah, dude. Yeah. This is it. This is the last episode.
That's kind of your brand, though. You know, your brand is like, is this guy in fucking ISIS? Like, that's
your brand is a little bit like, I may be an ISIS recruiter, but I'm a cool guy. You know, like,
I'm a cool terrorist.
Yeah, hey, invite me over to your house, and also, hey, check out these pamphlets. You know, that's your vibe for sure, Ismael. So
that's great. That's what I want to be.
Continue with your story. I love hearing this. Yeah.
Wait, no. So yeah, okay.
So she was white.
She was a white girl. Well, half Hispanic, but like white.
Okay. Hey.
And her family was not on board. They did not like it. They were very redneck, and and this was like 2010, so kind of the height of Obama fear, like, you know what I mean, like when it was first popping off, like the Tea Party was just popping off, all the the posters that have Obama like with a bone in his nose, like the really racist stuff was just kind of hitting suddenly. So it was really bad timing. Plus Sharia law was in the news, which it's kind of gone away now, but it was a really big deal that like all these states were passing anti-Sharia law bills. So the idea of like, you know, your daughter having like a brown boyfriend want to like have a Sharia marriage with her was very scary. Go. Yeah, it was very bad timing, and also we were teenagers, so it was bad timing.
Right. Well, there was that also. Yeah.
But they just kind of, her mom was just really against it and kind of mean to her, not to me. She was nice to me, but she was shitty to her daughter about it, and today I get it, I guess, but it's also. It was, you know, I wasn't gonna hurt anybody. It's fine.
Yeah, I mean, you're just trying to get your dick sucked. I understand.
I'm just trying to get it in. Yeah,
you know?
Come on, man.
You're just trying to spread the word of ISIS, man. You know.
Just, I know that your mother had converted to Islam when she married your father, because I know your mother is not Muslim.
Right. She is Muslim, but
I think
she's
she's
not
like a white lady from Connecticut, right?
Yeah.
Did you try to do that with your girlfriend at all?
No, I don't. I never had that in my mind. I mean, that was my age. Like I was a little kid. Like to me, I was like, well, whatever. We'll think about that later. We'll think about religion and stuff in 10 years. Anyway, religion is the reason that we're doing this huge life-altering thing.
Right.
You know, there was like a discrepancy there, but I never thought about her converting. No.
Damn. Do you guys don't still talk? Do you?
No. She doesn't hate me, but she definitely doesn't have fond memories of me. Like I think she looks back on that time like that was lame. Like she thinks it was like just kind of blech.
Wow.
She thought it was okay. Well, if she looks back and thinks that whole wedding thing is lame, I think you got off pretty easily because I could see somebody like looking back. If I thought back to my high school, it's like, oh my god, I did get married to that Muslim guy. I think that's more than lame. That's like a life-altering fucking. You know, that's Some people would say it's manipulative. I don't know. I'm just putting words in their mouth.
Yeah. Could be. I don't know. Maybe she does hate me. Maybe she has some stronger feelings about it, but I don't know. I can't. I'm not going to ask her. I'm not going to DM her like, hey, remember that thing that you forgot about?
Crazy. Man, I was just thinking, man, remember how crazy we were as kids and, you know, we got married, you know, remember Sharia law, man? That was crazy, you know?
Man, Sharia law, that should be crazy.
Man, Sharia law is crazy, guys, you know?
Dude, you're doing my act.
You're married now. You got married recently. Congratulations. Does your wife know about this story? Like, obviously, like, what are her thoughts about it?
Yeah, for sure. No, I think she asks the same questions that everybody asks. She's just interested in it. I don't think she really, I don't know. Like, you'd imagine that it would be a red flag for your, you know, fiance to have gotten married in some, like, weird sham Sharia marriage when they were a teenager, but I don't think she looks at it that way. Because, I mean, I don't know. You know the story. It's not like I fucking pulled some trick.
No,
was
I
just
mean,
trying to get
honestly, it
in.
just seems like a regular Florida story, to be honest with you. It's like, it doesn't even seem
Right.
that weird.
On the scale of Florida things that could have happened to me, it's pretty low down there. It's not that
Yeah,
crazy.
it seems actually pretty wholesome, to be honest with you.
Right.
Listen, Mike, you know me on the podcast, I like to laugh like an insane person, spread joy through jokes and
Yes.
inappropriate comments. But is that how I feel on the inside in 2020? Absolutely not, Mike.
No, man.
It's a dark mess in here, dude. Sometimes I'm really sad. Sometimes I'm a little depressed. I'm really stressed. And I think a lot of people with the pandemic, they're not really sure about job security. And that's a huge source of stress for a lot of people. And I think if any of our listeners feel this way, they should check out our sponsor, BetterHelp. BetterHelp will assess your needs and match you with your own licensed professional therapist.
Connect in a safe and private online environment. It's so convenient.
You can start communicating in under 24 hours.
This isn't self-help. It's professional counseling.
Send a message to your counselor anytime.
You'll get timely and thoughtful responses, plus you can schedule weekly video or phone sessions.
Woo! All without ever having to sit in an uncomfortable waiting room. You know how those waiting rooms can be, bro.
BetterHelp is committed to facilitating great therapeutic matches, so they make it easy and free to change counselors if you need it.
And it's more affordable than traditional offline counseling, and financial aid is available.
Licensed professional counselors who specialize in depression, stress, anxiety, relationships, sleeping, trauma, anger, family conflicts, LGBT matters, grief, and self-esteem.
I want you to start living a happier life today. As a listener, you'll get 10% off your first month by visiting our sponsor at betterhelp.com/Asian. Join over 1 million people who have taken charge of their mental health. Again, that's BetterHelp, HELP.com/Asian. Dude, 2020 has been crazy.
Fuck 2020.
It's been a very shitty year. And you know what? You know what makes 2020 really bad? It's not the COVID. It's not the fact that I lost my job. It's that I've been real stinky. I'm a stinky man.
You are a stinky man. That's why we do our podcast recordings remotely.
Oh, that hurts
because then I can be
my
far-
feelings.
Good, because you smell terrible.
Well, I think that in 2021, I like to change that so we can start recording together again. I think it's time to change things up, and I think I need to start with Hawthorne. Hawthorne is a premium tailored personal care brand that's making it easy for guys to feel and smell your best.
It's really easy. You start with their quiz. On this quiz, they ask you things like, what's your favorite drink? How do you like to spend a night out? Where do you like to go? That sort of stuff. It's actually really fun. I love talking about myself. You answer all these quizzes. It's pretty short. It's pretty simple. And the products I got are awesome. I got 2 kinds of cologne. I got some shampoo. I have this really cool deodorant because I am also a stinky boy. And I think it really helps. You got to take care of your beautiful Asian skin.
Wow, not gonna lie, didn't know people who shave their heads use shampoo. But if you want to upgrade your self-care routine, Hawthorne is a fun and convenient way to get super high quality products tailored specifically for your needs.
Hawthorne even takes the risk out of it by giving you free shipping on your orders and returns. And if you don't like their products, they'll even retailer them for you based on your feedback.
Do what I did. Take Hawthorne's quiz today and get started on your personalized self-care routine by going to hawthorne.co and use promo code NOTAsian to get 10% off your first purchase. That's HAWTHORNE.co. Promo code NOTAsian. Hawthorne.co. Promo code NOTAsian.
Wanted to also talk about, you're a writer on Patriot Act. Just like, what was it like working on the show? What was it like working with Hassan?
Hassan.
It was, it was pretty crazy. It was fun. That was my first writing anything. Was writing on that show, and it was just a crazy whirlwind to get thrown into it. And the first episode I wrote on was about Mohammed bin Salman, the fucking king of Saudi Arabia, crown prince, I guess.
Right. Yep.
Technically the crown prince. And as soon as the episode, as soon as we had written it out, or the first draft of it, and it was getting close to the second draft, Jamal Khashoggi got executed and cut up, and suddenly the story changed completely.
Holy fuck.
The week before, maybe even the weekend before we were supposed to tape it. It was days before. Suddenly everybody was talking about Saudi Arabia, which they hadn't been talking about for 2 years since MBS became crown prince. And then we had to rewrite everything. So that's just to say that the job was like that all the time. It was fucking brutal.
Damn.
You're
constantly
you're
had
one
to
of
rewrite
the
it.
you're one of the first writers on the show, right?
I was the first batch. Yeah. And I stayed along. Me and like Moss Paracon. We were.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean,
a couple
I
others.
remember when you got that job. I think that's why you moved to New York, maybe, or maybe it happened around the same time. I was like super pumped, but I remember like you were freaking out about the interview process. Now, Mike, this is crazy because like when you interview for a writing job, there are multiple rounds of interviews, but it's like not like a typical job interview at all. And I remember like, I don't remember exactly what you said, Ismael, but like I remember you were saying like, oh, they had me prepare X amount of ideas, but then when I got there, they wanted like 15 more or something on the spot or something like that. Do you recall that?
Yeah. They for the interview they had me come up with like, I had to pitch 3 episodes, and I like really rehearsed the episodes, and when I think back on it, it's really cringy. I was going through like joke by joke, like I was going very as if I was doing the episode for them. It was not a pitch. It was me just being like, okay, I'm gonna act out an episode for you. And I did that for 3 episodes, and then afterwards they were the showrunner, this little Smurf man named Jim.
We met him, I think, Mike.
What?
The showrunner for that show.
Oh, did
The
you
showrunner?
visited, right?
His
he had a
his,
really
like,
long name.
He has like his creative partner, Hassan's creative partner, right?
No, you're thinking of Prashant Venkataramanujam. That's the head writer.
Oh, okay.
And co-creator. Yeah. Who you should interview. He's a really cool guy, really nice dude.
Yeah, he seemed cool.
But fucking Jim Margolis is the showrunner.
Okay.
This small white man, and he just in the interview was like, "All right, do you have another idea?" Like
Shit.
after I had spent weeks preparing these 3, he was like, "Do you have just a random other one?" And then I pitched him MBS to do a story about Mohammed bin Salman, and it was bad, but they seemed to like it.
Wow.
I just like off the top was like, "Oh, MBS, he's bad," and they were like, "All right, yeah, cool,
Yeah, that's the one.
yeah, all right, fuck yeah."
I love it too when people just use the initials. It makes it sound like a really sweet like boy band, you know?
You're right.
You ever check out this Muslim K-pop band? They're pretty tight.
Yeah. Like I remember in Zero Dark 30, they keep calling Osama bin Laden UBL, you know? And I'm just like, whoa, who's
That
UBL?
sounds tight.
You know, is that dude on Spotify? I gotta check that out. That's some UBL shit right there. We're trying to be writers. We've been rejected tons of times. I'm sure we're gonna be rejected like tons more times. Like, what's your like? You know, I mean, do we need to get up on like this on this UBL tip? We got to be throwing out acronyms and shit. Like, what should we do?
Yeah.
You know,
I think the trick
What do we
to
gotta
getting
do?
you just have to be coming up with acronyms. You really just got to be trying your best and hope that the acronyms mean something. When I said MBS in the interview, I was just spitballing. You know, could have been anything.
could have been
But,
anybody.
Yeah. Yeah, I don't know. I think writing jobs are like, they're evil, kind of. You know, it's not fair that they're so hard to get, and they really are the dividing line between like having any fucking money in comedy and having so much money.
Yeah. Right.
Like before I got the job, I was living in LA in a shed in Silver Lake, like a literal shed without like a bathroom. I would have to go to the bathroom up at like a house. You know, I'd have to like walk outside and go to this house next door to use the restroom.
Right.
And that was just my life, and it wasn't that bad. Like I was fine. I was just like a 24-year-old bachelor dude.
Yeah.
So I was kind of okay with it, doing open mics and shit. But then you get this job, and it's like, okay, in 3 days you're gonna make so much money for the next 2 years.
Yeah.
And it's just like at the time I thought it was awesome, but now I guess now that I don't have a writing job, now I'm like that's fucked up. That like
It is crazy.
every comic who's like good enough is fucking on unemployment and shit. You know, I don't know. I'm just a really good guy, I guess, is what I'm trying to say.
I mean, were there like, did you like generally enjoy your experience there, or was it different than what you thought it was going to be? You know, because I still don't, to this day, I still don't think I understand what goes on to create a TV show as writers.
I think, well, writers are really in a cushy position, at least at well, maybe not at Patriot Act. I don't know. Like Patriot Act was specifically rough on everybody who worked there. Like it was a pretty big haul for everyone. Like writers, we were like rewriting stuff constantly, and like huge shifts to the script day of taping, moments into taping, after, like, you know, tapings would last like in maybe 2 hours, 2.5 hours. And in the middle of the taping, sometimes we would have to stop and like rewrite the ending and then send Hassan back out. So it was, and I'm not shitting on anybody that worked there, but like it was very crazy. And I don't think most shows are like that, because I was working with some other writers who had other jobs writing on TV, and they would tell me like, dude, other shows, like, they are not this insane. Like they're a little bit more. But to Patriot Act's credit, it got better with time. After like a year and a half, it became a lot more chill. Like, you know, no more like 3 a.m. nights after a while.
Wow.
Were there like, I mean, that's cool that, I mean, first of all, you got to work for a brown crew, which is awesome. That's your first like job, you know. Were there, you know, as like sort of like a Muslim writer, were there any like topics that you like wanted to write about or cover, like that you felt passionate about? Because like, you know, I remember you guys did an episode on like how Asians don't vote or something like that, and I think one of your Asian producers made that or pitched that or something. I forgot her name. You may not. You may know
Amy
her.
Zhang, I know her.
Yeah, and that was really cool. And I feel like shows like, you know, Hassan's show, they were great avenues for these like topics that would never get talked about unless Hassan had this show. You know, were there like topics like that you're just like, oh, I gotta talk about this? Or if you're there for 2 years, by the end you're like, I don't give a shit.
Yeah, I mean, there's definitely a spectrum, like depending on how long I had been at the job. I think at the end I was like, whatever, who gives a fuck? But for a while there, I do agree with you that was really the coolest thing about the show, is that we got to do stuff about like cricket.
Yeah.
Yo, I love that.
Cricket is fire. It's so nuts, bro. Yeah,
Dude,
man. This is some Vice shit right here.
We did a cricket episode where Hassan flew to London to talk to like the bad boy of cricket, and it was like, I don't know. I thought it was fucking awesome.
That's awesome.
It's really, it's kind of like if, you know, and it's crazy that there isn't a reality where, you know, Mike could pitch a sort of a investigative journalism piece on Vietnamese dads who gamble. You know, that's a whole thing that you guys do, and I'm sure it's interesting, but like no one would take that. But it was cool that Hassan kind of had this like avenue where things like that could actually be considered. You know.
Yeah,
for sure. Yeah. I do think Netflix kind of like pushed back on it though. I'm pretty sure they wanted us to do more broad stories and make everything as like for Americans as we could make it, which kind of sucked. And it came later on. Like early on, we were a little bit more open to doing what you're talking about, like kind of more niche, specific to like Asian and brown topics.
Was there?
I wanted to do,
yeah, go ahead.
I was gonna say I wanted to do something on Palestine at some point, or Syria. I was constantly pitching like Palestine, Israel.
What like what was like something, you know, some you know, because I think your dad is Syrian, is that
yeah Syrian,
right? So like what was like a story angle that you wanted to do about Syria or that you could, that just didn't get picked up?
Well, my pitch for Syria, the last one I did, was I just wanted to like do a thing about how Bashar al-Assad beat America, how like we lost a war. Because people don't really consider that happened,
right?
Because they just don't look at it that way. But geopolitically, like Bashar al-Assad, who's considered one of the worst dictators of the 21st century, he defeated the United States in a war. Like straight up, we lost. Syria is under his control and will be for the rest of his life. And I can't go back there. Like every Syrian in diaspora, like can't go back to Syria basically, because America just fucking didn't do a good enough job fighting or helping the FSA or doing anything.
You and me are homies now, dude. Get inside the Vietnamese boat, man. We're getting on the boat. We're getting out to the 7th Fleet. Okay, we're getting the fuck out of here.
That's right.
This is America's move. Okay, America's move is to come into a very complicated situation, take a massive shit, and then just leave. They're the dude going to the house party. America goes to the house party, takes a shit in the bathroom, clogs up the toilet, and then it's like, yo, I gotta bounce. Uber's here. You know, that is America's move.
Oh, that's so funny.
And you're totally right about Syria. I mean, there was a time when I was like, man, for sure, this guy is going to be out of here. He had lost like 80% of the country geography or something like that. and there were so many different forces at play, and then he, he fucking leveled the fucking country, but he has power. He maintained power, and now he's back on. He's back. Nothing happened except millions of people got killed or got displaced. So.
Right, and that's a fucked up thing. This isn't funny, but he will happily rule over rubble,
Yes.
This guy doesn't care. Yeah. He just wants to be a world. I don't know why would you want to be a world leader and like have your people be sad? Like it's just so strange to me. It's crazy. Like what power, how does it's got to feel fucking great to have power that they don't even care. Yeah. That the thing making them have power is just like awful. They're doing the worst version of it. All right, this is...
No, it's good. I can see why this didn't get picked up, but, it's a fascinating story.
It did get picked up by A&A, so good job.
It got picked up by Asian, not Asian. Hell yeah.
And immediately dropped.
I want to close out this interview with like this question here, and you've been a comedian for a while. You've written on shows and stuff like that, and I have a friend who just got a job with Lily Singh, and I was like, oh, that's amazing. Like, I'm so excited for you. You've been doing comedy forever. Like, it's about fucking time. And she was like, oh, thank you, but it's like a 3-month contract, so I could be back here in like 3 months. And I was just like, is there no fucking stability for talented comedians out there? Like, you know what I mean? Like, you have a resume now, right? But once the show is canceled, it's like, bye. Like there's not necessarily guarantee you another job, and like, just kind of, I don't know. I just want to like ask you about your like industry opinion on that. Like, it seems pretty wild to me that you could have this like massive responsibility for 2 years, and then if the show is done, like, like you said earlier, it's like there's not. I don't know. It's just like a lot of. I feel like they just leave comedians out to dry.
Yeah, for sure. I mean, that's really the downside of doing that. I mean, that's why the writing gigs pay so much, is because none of it's guaranteed that it's going to last for more than 3 months, really, or 6 months, So that is kind of the downside to it. And I don't know, this is actually something I talked to Rami Youssef about once, where he made a really good point. It was right when I got Patriot Act. Yeah. And, I mean, is it that cool? Come on. It's Rami. Whatever. But he was just telling me that like getting writing gigs is fun, but you want to be able to have creative control over anything you do. That's the goal, is to be in charge, because if you're not in charge, then you're exactly, you're going to get hung out to dry. Like if you're not making the thing yourself, then the gig it's eventually going to go away, and then the money is just going to be withering away in your bank account. And that is very true, and much like Syria, not very funny. But I took his advice, and I have not made anything of myself with it, but I hope to one day.
I am real excited about this next product because it is perfect for anal. I'm talking about Asian, not Asian listeners, but also I'm talking about the actual butthole.
Yes.
Okay. It's hard to believe that when we go to the bathroom in this country, most of us wipe instead of wash.
Gross. For years, bidets have been available, but hideously expensive, costing thousands of dollars. Really? That's crazy.
What? That's so crazy. The Hello Tushy modern bidet attachment is here to democratize the blessings bestowed by bidets and offer clean buttholes to everyone.
Hello Tushy cleans your butt with a precise stream of fresh water. It sounds like an Evian ad for just $79.
Wow, it attaches to your existing toilet, requires no electricity or additional plumbing, and cuts toilet paper use by 80%.
Wow.
So the Hello Tushy bidet pays for itself in a few months.
Because with Hello Tushy, you don't wipe at all. Even the best 2-ply just can't cut it when it comes to the hands-free poop experience.
Yo, ditch paper products and uncomfortable chafing when you switch to the soothing, cleansing stream of water from a Hello Tushy bidet attachment.
And every Hello Tushy bidet attachment comes with a 60-day risk-free, risk-free, what kind of risk are we talking about? Risk-free guarantee and a 12-month warranty.
Join millions of happy Hello Tushy customers right now and have a clean butt with every flush.
Go to hellotushy.com/ANA to get 10% off.
This is a special offer for our listeners. Go to hellotushy.com/ANA for 10% off.
hellotushy.com/ANA.
Did you know that almost 40% of the United States is people of color, but medical research is 80 to 90% white?
That's crazy. Are you telling me that every time I read side effects on a bottle of pills or something like that, that is based on research only for white people, and they're not really thinking about my petite Japanese body?
That's right. They're not thinking about your tiny, tiny Japanese body, okay? This has serious consequences. In drug trials conducted primarily in the United States, Asians account for less than 2% of participants, but account for 6% of the U.S. population.
Listen, I'm not a scientist, but I know white people and Asian people, we have different bodies. For example, we got different earwax, and I know that makes a difference in my medication.
The All of Us research program is the largest and most diverse health resource ever and is representing all of those groups who have been left out of research in the past. People of color, seniors, rural areas, low income, LGBTQ, etc. It's up to you how much and what you want to share, and all of the info is secure and your identifiable info is removed, so it's anonymous.
And why should you trust them? It's managed by the National Institute of Health, NIH, one of the world's foremost medical research centers.
Why should you sign up? Well, for the greater good, to represent unrepresented groups, contribute to health research that could help the community, your family, maybe even you.
And you also get a $25 gift card.
And they're providing 10,000 free Fitbits starting early next year to bring people into research to help close gaps in representation. You can sign up and do everything safely from the comfort of your own home. Participation is power. Join to make a difference at joinallofus.org/Asian Not Asian.
We got this last segment here called Mismanagement Consulting, where we answer our fans' questions, their problems, really. We call it Mismanagement Consulting because we are not actual consultants, but we will try to solve your problems in the way that management consultants typically do. So if you want to get in on this, please email us at asian.asianpod@gmail.com or leave a voicemail or text us at 917-755-9596. That's 917-755-9596. And we prefer voicemails, even though like only a few of you have been doing that. I know you're embarrassed, but it's a lot better because we can actually play it on the show. Today's question, I guess we'll do a few here. I try to pick these, catering to our guests. Some of these are really weird. Some of these are kind of serious. This one's kind of weird. This one says, "Hey, Fumi and Mike, when I was with my ex, parentheses, who is white, I'd encountered the situation where Asian guys, both random ones on the street and people I knew, would come up to me and asked how I managed to get a white girl. Fumi, have you ever encountered this, and how would the two of you recommend responding to these situations?"
So his problem is that people are happy that he has a white girlfriend?
That he has a white girlfriend. Yeah.
I guess people come up to him and ask him, like, how did you do it?
Has this ever happened to you, Fumi?
I think I didn't have a girlfriend when this would have happened to me. Like, I think if I had a white girlfriend in like 2009 or 10, maybe people might have asked. But like, you gotta remember, like, I don't have a lot of Asian friends for a long time. So like, he's saying Asian people come up to him and ask him how they did it, which is like, I don't know. That's kind of fucked up on a lot of levels, you know? That's
Oh, really? Why? Why do you think it's fucked up?
For someone to ask?
Yeah.
Because it's like that person is clearly valuing like white women over other types of women, right? And so like, I would not be comfortable with that question in 2020, you know? It's because they're saying, because they're asking you like, hey, how'd you get that job? Like, you work at Google? Tight. You know, like they're doing it like, oh, I want that job. I want that girl, you know?
Dude.
So I don't like this question, but but I have had people who are like, they're all Asian guys, of course.
For sure.
If they're like, oh, you got a girlfriend? And I'll show them a picture or something, and they'll be like, haha, white girl. Like,
yeah,
they'll
dude.
say some shit like that.
Yeah, we always give them a high five. Yeah.
Yeah, I usually give a high five. I do that for the 2008 Fumi. You know, the guy who really needed the high five. The guy who really needed the hype. But I don't know, Ismael, you love white women. You know, what's going on?
Oh, God.
What do you think about this?
I think the person asking this question has never had this happen to them. And
you don't think so?
I don't believe them. I think they've imagined it in their heads when they're out with their white girlfriend and been like, man, how fucking cool would it be if that Korean dude asked me how I got a white girl? That would be fucking hot. I would be so proud of myself. I've definitely done that in my head of like, God, look at that fucking brown guy. I bet he's somehow impressed or something. Yeah.
Yeah.
I don't believe the questioner, but I mean, if somebody came up to me and asked how I got a white girlfriend. I mean, they're fucking everywhere. I don't know. Is it that?
Yeah. Also, I like to just dispel that. Like, I don't know. They're not that hard to get anymore. I don't know. Like, they are everywhere. And, you know, I mean, to be honest with you, like, I've had a harder time trying to impress an Asian woman. To be honest with you. So
Totally.
Interesting.
I feel like a white person should go to his white girlfriend and be like, "How did you get an Asian guy? Because you're like 1% of the population. Arabs are 1%. We're small.
We're so
We're
rare. We're the rare Pokemon of the dating
Yeah.
game. You know, level 2. Yeah, I feel like it's definitely changed. I feel like it was 2000 up to 2012 or so. It was like rarer, and now you don't see it as much. Or now you see that kind of all sorts of kind of mixings, although I feel it's going back down. I feel that because Shang-Chi got pushed back a year, and so now they don't see hot Asian guys on there anymore, so like our stock went down a little bit. And now but like it's different from like 2008 when it was like unusual, you know? I think that that was like
has this ever? See, I don't know if this is relatable to you. Well, you've had like white girlfriends before, right, Mike?
I have not. No.
Oh,
No,
okay. So
yeah.
I don't. Yeah, Mike is a purist, and I love that about him.
I feel like I don't know if like random people would I don't know if I saw if this was like 2008 Mike and I saw an Asian guy with a white girl, I don't know if I would like go up to that dude and give him a high five in front of this other person and be like, nice, you know, what bait did you use, you know, like she's a fish, you know, like what's your lure
Yeah,
system?
did you tell her you like Arcade Fire? What'd you do, man? Like
yeah. But I feel it was unusual enough where it was like you noticed it, you know.
Ismael, has this ever happened to you? Sometimes, and this is how I know I'm not completely decolonized, my mind, is I will be on the train and I'm sitting next to my white girlfriend, and across the train is another Asian guy with his white girlfriend, and I don't know what to think about it, but I do go, like I do that, you know? So I do know that something is happening. I don't know, have you ever had that happen to you?
Dude, I definitely have had that happen. I mean, I've never had it happen with like another visibly Arab guy and a white girl. Because I think Arabs in New York stay pretty close together. Like the Arab community here is actually really tight knit. But I've definitely seen like Pakistani or Desi guys with white girls across the train from me. And I do have that moment that you're talking about, but it's definitely for me like a competitive feeling where I'm like, oh, are they the hotter brown and white couple than me and my wife? Like, are we the schlubby boring ones, or are they the like? And I don't know. I think Pakistani guys, they really turn it up. Like they can be pretty hot. It's
dude.
intimidating.
Oh my gosh, dude. What like my worst fear is over the hot Indian dude with long hair. Oh Jesus, you know? God damn. Come on, bro. You're just too sexy. And he's got like Chelsea boots on. I fucking hate that.
Oh, dude, a brown guy with Chelsea boots. It's
a
game
brown
over.
guy with Chelsea boots. Forget it. Oh, you just go ahead. Just everybody.
Take my girl, please.
We're all gonna leave. Ismael and Fumi. We're all out of here. You know, there's no way we can compete with that. So.
All right.
Yeah.
So to this guy, I would say we think you were lying. But if someone did ask you, I would say, hey, you need to watch some movies and decolonize your mind, because white women, they're not the top anymore. Okay, the top is Indian guys with Chelsea boots.
Yeah,
so that's what you gotta say.
Right.
Okay, that was our show. Thank you so much for listening, Ismael. Thank you for being on it.
Thanks for
where
having
can
me.
our listeners find you, man?
Dude, you can find me on Instagram, Ismael, Ismael.Loutfi, Loutfi.
Nice.
Any other cool things coming up? You got a podcast? You got a show? Anything?
I got a Comedy Central set coming out in
Oh
January.
shit!
Ooh.
Awesome.
Yeah, it was recorded during COVID, and it was pretty fun. Yeah.
Perfect.
That's amazing. Oh, you also did like man, I should have asked this earlier. You fucking met Bill Burr, right? You did like a Comedy Central Bill Burr thing.
Yeah, I did that in March of this year. Yeah, and it was
That's so
just
wild.
a 7-minute set. It was fun.
Dude, what was that like, man?
It was pretty standard. It was a pretty just chill experience. Meeting him, he's a terrifying man up close.
Oh really?
His face is it's just massive. He has.
Oh really?
His face blotted out everything else in the room, and he's got like those Neanderthal eyebrows that like don't really, you know, like they're like really heavy set, and there's kind of, his super blonde, so there's no actual hair where they should be. It just looks like little bumps of skin. Basically, Bill Burr is a hideous man, and that was the whole experience. Was kind of taking that in and just living with it. And it was fun. He asked me about getting married when I was a teenager.
That's cool.
He was nice. He was a nice guy.
How was
Super.
he? Yeah.
He was really nice. He was a really sweet guy. Yeah.
Oh yeah, that's
Okay,
nice
cool.
to hear. Because I hate it when I hear that one of my favorite comedians is a fucking asshole. So that's really nice to
that
hear.
sucks.
No, he was really sweet, and I think he revels in being like a sweet guy. Like,
Yeah.
I love that he's sweet and terrible to look at. That's wonderful. I think that's so on brand for him. You know.
You can only have both, man.
Yeah.
You can always find us on all the social platforms at Asian.AsianPod. I'm also on there at the Fumi Abe. That's TheFumiAbe.
And you can find me on Instagram at Nice Pants Bro.
Please leave a review on iTunes. It really helps. Tell your friends about it. And check out our Patreon if you want more of this. We got more weekly content, audio and video on our Patreon. So just go to patreon.com/Asian.AsianPod. And we got merch as well. So if you want that, we got hoodies.
Yeah.
I'm wearing one right now. So if you want that, go to Asian.AsianPod.com/merch. I think that's it. Ismael, thank you so much.
Hell yeah, thanks for having me, guys. It was so
Anals,
fun.
we'll see you guys next week. Bye.
Bye.